Ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea nil, Aston Villa 1. As I've always said, I never took this game seriously. I didn't get to watch the match. I saw the highlights. I'm not too perturbed about the result. Some really, really key moments to talk about. Obviously, the major injury concern in regards to Armando Broja and some key players that we need to really, really have a conversation, specifically Omari Hutchinson.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Chelsea nil, Aston Villa 1 match reaction. Look, I did say that I was going to do a watch along, but I simply couldn't. And the match was at 1:30 a.m. My time. Was way too tired, had to sleep. I mean, if it was a Premier League game, I definitely would have done a watch along. But I always knew, this being a friendly with a lot of our first team players not available, it was going to be a lot of the academy boys that was going to play. Look, ended up being Chelsea nil, Aston Villa 1. I'm not, as I said in my previous stream, I'm not too concerned about the result in this match, knowing that we don't have a lot of our players available. And this was a perfect opportunity to give chances to the users to see exactly what they're capable of doing and who puts their hand up to potentially get a position in the first team. That's exactly what this was about, and getting some minutes under the belt and getting the fitness up and running, because Premier League football is just around the corner. Apparently there might be another friendly just before the Bournemouth game that kicks off in the Premier League. But look, this match has been marred by the Armando Broja situation. He's picked up a major injury, it seems like. I know a lot of people are not talking about it until the scans are out, but heaps of people on social media are saying the scream that they heard when the match was on and he got injured was not good. Got stretchered off, could not walk. A lot of people are probably expecting that it's an ACL injury, so potentially be out for the rest of the season, and that puts a massive pickle in the scheme of things, in the entire scheme of things. I actually hoped that we were going to use Armando Broja a lot more in this second part of this Premier League that's going to kick off. We've recently talked about João Felix. If we do end up getting him, I don't know whether that's going to happen, but if we did, the combination he would have had potentially with Armando Broja really did excite me. Some of the people weren't very impressed with Aubameyang in this particular game, but then again, look, this is just, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But even Aubameyang in recent times before the World Cup, his form was a bit up and down. He did go through a stretch of games where he was scoring, but it was still up and down. Where does that leave us? Leaves us with Aubameyang and Kai Havertz perhaps up front, and that's something that worries me massively. And looks like we need some sort of a solution in January. Not to say that Armando Broja, he was involved a lot, but at least he gave us an option. Now the only options are either Aubameyang, which obviously should be the first option, knowing that the kind of experience that he has. But if he's someone who's out of form, then you best believe you're going to see Kai Havertz. Now, before we look into the entire match, let's have a look at the lineup. This is where we need to put some perspective. This is the lineup for Chelsea Football Club that was put on against Aston Villa. Bettinelli, Brooking, Humphreys. Chalobah actually didn't play. He was there's some comments that's going around that he's not injured or anything like that. He's just simply, the workload is getting managed because of the number of games he's going to have to play once the Premier League starts. So Chalobah actually didn't start. It was Alfie Gilchrist, I think, Cucurella, Webster, Jorginho, Hall, Hutchinson, Broja, Aubameyang. Now you can see there's a bunch of academy players involved in this particular lineup, and for this lineup to come out, just 1-0 loss against Aston Villa, and I'm going to show you the Aston Villa team, which is full of first-team players. That's actually a fair enough result. Lots of youngsters over here. I think what we did over here was a 4 at the back, in my opinion. Cucurella played as a left-back. I think Brooking must have been on the right. Humphreys and Alfie Gilchrist was probably in the middle. And then there was 3 in the midfield with Webster, Jorginho, Hall. Jorginho probably playing as the deepest midfielder, Webster and Hall. The highlights that I saw, it was about 10-minute highlight. It kind of showed Jorginho playing as the deepest and Hall and Webster were the 8s. And then up front, Hutchinson, Broja, and Aubameyang. Now, this was the Aston Villa lineup, ladies and gentlemen. Olsen, Ashley Young, Konza, Mings, Digne, McGinn. McGinn's the one that scored. That was a goal that Aston Villa scored. It was a really lovely move from them, and it was a fine goal from McGinn. Camara, Douglas Lewis, Reiki, Bailey, Watkins. As you can see, this is full of first-team players, and this is more or less the Premier League team that they have. And I'm pretty sure Unai Emery is probably going to be utilising this. Few things to talk about. As I said, this was a little bit about Trevor Chalobah. Not to get worried about. He's not really injured. Hearing that Trevor Chalobah is resting and is perfectly fine. Graham Potter is managing the players' load ahead of Chelsea's Premier League return. So he's not injured, just resting it. First, let's talk about Armando Broja, ladies and gentlemen. This is what Graham Potter had to say. It was an unfortunate action. I think he got caught up with their player and the ground. It doesn't look positive at the moment, but it's too early to say. Fingers crossed, but it's an awkward one. Look, I don't know whether you guys saw that footage. I'm not really sure if I can actually bring it up in this video. I'm a bit worried whether I'm going to get done with copyright. Basically, the incident was Omari Hutchinson was pressing to win the ball from the defender, and he just collided with the defender, and then he went down. And from there, he was just clutching on his knee, and he was in a lot of pain and agony. And it just simply does not look good. It does not look good. And I'm worried. I'm worried that his season's probably over. So I'm very, very cautious moving into the second part, as I said, with Aubameyang as the only option, and then if he doesn't go well, then it's Havertz. So I'm concerned that we do need to have some sort of a backup. Now, a lot of people will start saying Cristiano Ronaldo. There's been some rumors that's going around about Cristiano Ronaldo. Again, Todd Bowley, as you know, likes him. Where will his mindset be after Portugal being knocked out and all that emotional factors that's taken place in crying? He's just not in the right place. I would like to see Cristiano Ronaldo. I know a majority of you guys wouldn't want to see him so on that anymore, but we need something. We need something, in my opinion. We need something. You let me know. Are you guys happy to just move in with Aubameyang and Kai Havertz perhaps being the secondary option once the Premier League starts? For me, it's a bit of a worry not having that Armando Broja factor available. Bowley, Igbali, and Potter, they were in the ground, and this is a moment they had with Graham Potter. I wonder how they're feeling about the progress and whatnot. Next up, I really want to talk about Omari Hutchinson, ladies and gentlemen. This guy, for me, from the highlights that I saw from all the people that have been talking on social media, this guy's got to be our first team player. I've said it in recent videos as well, that one player that I want to see in the second part of this Premier League season is Omari Hutchinson, who slowly finds himself into the first team. Whether it's off the bench, get some minutes, and then eventually start. Whatever the case is, he needs to be integrated into the first team. And once again, he was the star up front. And this is what Graham Potter had to say. Graham Potter and Hutchinson, really good, dangerous, asked the question all the time. Throughout the game, he showed his quality, but he wasn't the only one. It was a spirited performance against an experienced Premier League side with a lot of young players. Further goes on to say, Potter says Chelsea have another friendly the week before the Bournemouth game. So, look, there was a fine moment for Omari Hutchinson where it was a long ball from Jorginho. Omari Hutchinson takes the ball on the right side, cuts back in, and he hits it with his left. I mean, is he both-footed? I'm pretty certain he's a right-footed player. Let me know. Is he left-footed as well? I don't know. It was a fine shot which hit the post. That would have been a glamorous goal and leveling things up at 1-1. That would have absolutely set the roof on fire with all the Chelsea fans across the world. So Omari Hutchinson, for me, needs to be integrated into the team. He was one of the very few shining lights in this particular matchup. Along with, I say, Hall for me. Lewis Hall is the other player that we really need to talk about. Before I get into the Graham Potter situation, as I said, Lewis Hall is the second player that I want to really big up. Obviously, he's already part of the first team. recently there's been some articles, there's been some tweets from all of these so-called in the knows. They've been saying that Lewis Hall is completely part of the first team. He's made the progression, he's made the promotion, and his performance in the highlights that I saw was very, very good. There were a couple of times he got into the box and he laid off shots as well, on target, but straight to the goalkeeper. But his movement, his pace in midfield was very good to see. I've not seen him in midfield. Apparently, he is a midfielder. I've seen him on the left more often. But what I saw in the midfield wasn't bad either. So that's another player for me that I want to say definitely needs to get some minutes off the bench when the Premier League starts. And it's good to know that he's part of the first team setup. This is what Graham Potter had to say, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a full week training. When we get back, obviously recover from the flight, then we've got a friendly the following week. So there you go. We've got a friendly the following week. So that'll be good. We've got a few more guys coming back from the World Cup. So it's moving nicely. I believe the World Cup guys are coming back in this new week on Friday. So they've got a bit of time off. So by Friday, they'll be here. I'm not really sure whether Hakim Ziyech is actually going to be back by then. I don't think so. He's probably going to have a break. Even if Morocco gets knocked out, he's probably going to have a break. We've got a few more guys coming back from the World Cup, so it's moving nicely. Further goes on to say this week we can have a few more players back in full training with us. Reece has moved forward. Wesley and Carney are moving forward, so that's positive. Then hopefully Ruben Ben Chilwell can take a step forward in their rehab next week. We're optimistic about that. So obviously these players, they didn't participate in this friendly against Aston Villa, but it's good to know that their rehabilitation is moving nicely. And this is what I tweeted out as soon as I woke up, because obviously I didn't get to watch the match. So I said, just woke up, saw the highlights. Now I want to hear from you all what you thought about the friendly between Chelsea versus Aston Villa. I'll read out the comments on my channel. So as I promised, I want to read out some of the comments. This is what people had to say. Don Kirui, 29, we did well, taking in mind it was a team full of young players. So this game is basically about them. Omari Hutchinson was the one who impressed me, but I'm not surprised. I expected that from him. I hope he will get to be around the first team and get minutes. Hall was okay. I found Hall was very, very good as well. Hall was okay in midfield, but in my opinion, he's not ready to play in that crucial midfield role. Left wing back fits him more based on previous games. I agree. Others seem not ready for the big stage, especially CBs and Brooking. And I don't like Webster in that advanced role. He is better as a 6. I have to agree with everything that Don has said. Point 44 has said it was a chance for the youth players to show what they're about. So I'm not pressed about the result. But bar Hutchinson and Hall, I was unimpressed. Much like what we've all said. In this match, for me, Omari Hutchinson and Hall were the talking points, obviously, besides the Broja situation. There were the two talking points. Tuchel said, though we lost, the second half was pretty enjoyable. Our youth team dominated a full-strength Premier League side. There you go. Chelsea has no identity. The loss wasn't bad, but we look clueless. Look, I don't want to be overly critical about this match. Omari Hutchinson has to be promoted to the first team ASAP. He was constantly looking a threat in the opposition half. I agree. Mali and the government has said, credit to the youngsters outplaying the experienced ones. Oba is not the striker Chelsea needs. Jorginho is still getting dribbled past easily. Hall, Omari should be in and around the first team. The struggle with playing forward passes continues. Ibrahim has had a lot of positives from our academy, especially Hutchinson and Hall. Omar has said it was exciting seeing Hutchinson play. The guy needs to be promoted. Lots of other comments. And then obviously there's CFC Daily, who said training match standard as you expected, but Hutchinson is needed in the first team. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's particular match analysis. The biggest factor that I'll take out of here is Omari Hutchinson needs to be in the first team. We need some sort of creativity moving into this second phase of the Premier League season. If we're not going to use, please give Omari Hutchinson a good go, build him up from the bench, give him starts, and you never know what he may turn out to be. And as I've always said, he will turn out to be that Potter player. Do you know what I mean? Not many players out there Potter within our squad. So he'll potentially be a player that will be Potter player. So let's give him that opportunity. And Armando Broja, he's injured, it seems like, for a long time. So we'll see exactly what we do in January in regards to whether we try and find another solution, or we're happy to go on with players like Aubameyang and Kai Havertz. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on this particular match. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button if you have. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. I shall see you guys for another live tomorrow. Until then, see ya.